A and we have B, we can find C with A squared plus B squared is C squared. And that's the Pythagorean theorem. Aaron.
Why do we need to know this anyway, Mr. Napro?
Yeah, A squared. I'm never going to get A squared. I'm never going to get an A squared in life. I'm like 45 years old. I'm not going to know this vision.
It's not that math isn't important, it's just not important to me. I want to be a ukulele player, so I don't need math. It's always been my worst subject in school. I've never done well in it. I don't understand math concepts. When I grow up, I really want to be a farmer, and I'm not going to need to use math in my future career. All I have to know is how to grow different crops. So math really isn't going to be important for me.
Well, for music, one has to understand fractions and ratios for when to make certain notes. Music follows mathematical rhythms and patterns. Studies have shown that songs containing better mathematical structures are more liked by the public. Also, farmers have to know the perimeters of their fields and how much fertilizer they need per acre. They need to be able to calculate the volume of their silos and how much room is left compared to how much room they need for the harvest. Here's Dr. Krakauer with more about math and professions.
So the importance of math varies from profession to profession. If you're a lawyer, most of the math you need to know is just routine arithmetic, how to use spreadsheets and understand some of the simple functions, how to understand some financial equations, how to predict mortgage rates, things like that, having to do with economics. If you're a doctor, then you probably were required to take a physics course in college as an undergraduate, and also chemistry courses, so you would understand some of the mathematics that describes things like the concentration of chemicals in blood and red blood cells, things like that. Obviously, if you're an engineer and you're designing something like a suspension bridge, like the George Washington Bridge or some other bridge like that, you have to know exactly how the cables, the roadbed, everything else is going to behave under the influence of gravity and how strong it's going to be. So the mathematics there gets very, very elaborate, very complicated. So you can't do science, you can't do what I do without understanding mathematics at various levels of complexity and difficulty. So mathematics is everywhere in all professions.
Without people devoting their jobs to math, mankind would not enjoy the same technological commodities that they take for granted. Buildings, bridges, cars, computers, the internet, and phones were all invented through mathematics. Without math, people can form ideas, but those ideas would remain solely as ideas and never be put to good use. One of the most important applications of math in everyone's life is managing money. People need to be able to understand that the money they make is not infinite, and they cannot simply buy anything they want. People must use their math skills in order to know whether or not they are losing money on a monthly basis. They need to factor in rent or mortgages, insurance, phone and cable bills, and groceries. If they spend more than they make, they need to cut superfluous items such as fancy cars or clothes. An everyday use of mathematics is cooking. Whether it is calculating ratios to bake something new, interchanging through different measurements, or doubling batches, math is always necessary. Math also plays an important role when traveling. Here's Ms. Hanks on more of that.
What is the importance of math when traveling?
Oh, it's extremely important, Matthew. For instance, if you arrive into a train station and you are arriving with dollars and you need to exchange, there is not a cashier with a paper that tells you coming from a computer. No, it's handwritten. So you kind of have to do it in your brain. So if you don't really know math and you are not quick in it, they can really rip you off. And instead of giving you 200 euros, they will give you 20 euros, which makes a big difference. Or when you go, for instance, to a restaurant. Here in the United States, you go normally and they give you a receipt that is coming from a computer. Over there, they do it handwriting. And when they know you're American, they think, oh my gosh, they have money. and they try to rip you off all the time.
Also at restaurants, it is customary to leave a tip for the waiter or waitress, as they rely on tips for their income. Generally, the tip is around 15 to 20% of the total bill. One needs to be able to calculate using mathematics to leave a proper tip.
When you're going to rent a car, it's the same thing because they're telling you how much it will cost you per day, but also they will tell you how many miles or kilometers. So I am used to kilometers. Over there, sometimes it's yards, sometimes it's kilometers, sometimes it's another unit. So you really need to be very quick in order for you not to be ripped off when you're traveling.
And what's the importance of math when living abroad?
Well, for instance, I'm from Colombia. I'm living here in the United States, and the temperature in here is different. You know, when you are going to cook in the oven, you know that they tell you, you need to bake your cake at this temperature. Is Fahrenheit. In my country is Celsius, and there is a huge difference. Or when you read the forecast, that you said, okay, am I going to wear something warm or something that is going to be cold? And if you don't know how to exchange that, you're either going to get sick or you're going to be burning because you don't know the exchange for the units.
The final use of math is far more subtle. Studies have shown that math improves overall cognitive thinking. In 2001, Professor Ryuta Kawashima conducted an experiment on how mathematics stimulates the brain. He discovered that when people use math, almost all of the brain is used. Kawashima compares the brain to a muscle. To strengthen muscles, people work hard and push themselves to the limits. The same can be said about the brain. He states that working on math problems is one of the most efficient ways of strengthening the brain. So math is indeed important for all students to learn, no matter what they want to be when they grow up. Math is the language of nature that everyone should learn to speak.